Uber has been the debate of the contrast between innovation and regulation for, the past 4 years. We're definitely a disruptive company, and when we talk about disruption, this is kind of what we mean. There's always going to be somebody protesting to new technology. There's the understanding that old interests are, easier to be kept than changing towards a new type of ecosystem. There's also a really interesting concept, which is there was a great need for something that connected people in a better way, because hailing was the only way to get a transportation before, and there was no real understanding of who was the person who was picking you up. What this means is that through one little concept, the connection of a person with transportation and the idea of giving people their own personal driver, Uber managed to use this same concept everywhere in the world, and now we're in over 40 countries and 130 cities. And I think that what this demonstrates is that the need was there, because otherwise it's like a overarching need. What this means for Italy is that it's clear that Italy is not different to anywhere else in the world. And when there's information about Italy not really needing this kind of service, it's kind of misleading, and we show very little data usually, but this is just to show you, first of all, that's a map of all the requests we get for people use of Uber that are not even in Milan or Rome, which are the cities we're in. Like Naples and Florence and Torino, they're like waiting for us to get there. And obviously this shows the growth in number of users instead in the cities we are in. What does this mean? It shows that not only there's a need, but it also shows, and this is what we want regulators to understand, that there's a real benefit to this kind of disruption. And the real benefit is, and it's proven in the US where we've been there for longer, is there's a job creation. There's a industry that is born that didn't exist before. There's new people taking these kind of trips, which we call like collaborative transportation, that before take their own car. There's a lot of there's a added income for the city, and there's a lot of extra value that gets generated when a transportation system becomes easy. Then restaurants, hotels, and everything else that lives as part of a city becomes easier and easier to access. And then the other thing is there's also real impact on the population. And one of the things is we've seen that in the cities we've been around for longer, we've seen a 10% decrease in number of DUIs, driving under influence. So people stop using their own car and driving and having accidents, and instead, if they can have a safe transportation method, they just would use it instead. People also in less developed or less served areas can find now an easy way to move in the city, and so we are actually adding a lot of value to the cities. And why is this important? This is important because what we mean by regulation when there is new innovation is, again, the understanding of what this new innovation is bringing. And this is why we believe that the idea of the regulation and innovation working together is to make sure that this innovation is done responsibly. In the way we can apply this to Uber, of course, it's about first of all, an ecosystem that we've created of people that connect to each other. And we have a continuous and ongoing sort of checking of our system, because users can rate drivers and drivers can rate users. They can give us feedback, and in this way we make sure that there's some sort of security. So we create a security in the ecosystem, but then we also create security in, like, at the beginning. So we as a company make sure that our brand is secure in the sense that we check what type of drivers we want to have on our system. This is just to allow for a kind of ecosystem that sort of becomes viable and a brand that is like recognized all over the world. And if somebody takes an Uber in Singapore or Cape Town or Mexico City or Singapore, it doesn't matter. The same kind of technology will provide the same type service. So just to conclude, what I want to say is that for us, of course, we have a difficult relationship with regulators, and we are bringing something that is new in an industry that has had entrenched old interests, but the ability to bring this kind of disruptive technology should be allowed, and experiments should be made to show that the impact is clearly positive for the whole community, and this is the way we can work together. Thank you.